This is my 2024 Tesla Model 3 Performance, and it has over 5,000 miles on it so far. And I've also done a review for it as well. So has my opinion changed since I've owned this car? Well, my name is John with Viper Productions, and today we're gonna explore my ownership experience thus far with the new 2024 Model 3. And I'll also be providing some insights to people who might be interested in buying this car. But first, super quick, there's a large percentage of people who watch my videos who actually aren't subscribed to the channel. I'm actually trying to make it a goal for this year to end the year with 2,000 subscribers. And I definitely appreciate it if you guys subscribe. If you do enjoy the content, that is, definitely don't subscribe if you don't like the content. I'm sure there's other channels that you can watch out there. But if you find this type of content informative and helpful, I definitely would appreciate it if you subscribe. I make this sort of content, and I also make car reviews every month. So if you like that content as well, or maybe you might be new to the channel, definitely check out that other content and consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. So with that, let's get into the video. All right, first thing I wanted to talk about was the handling. And I'll say this car handles very interesting. It's a sports car with 20-inch rims, so it has sports handling, if that makes any sense. And who knows, I could be completely biased just because in my area, there's just a ton of construction. So you have a lot of road debris, you have road imperfections, you have 18-wheelers going over these roads and destroying them completely. So it's just a rough ride for me, for the most part at least. But as I get more into the inner city around Dallas, that's when it starts to kind of smooth out and it feels a little bit better. But I don't know, it's just interesting. I don't know if I like it or dislike it. I'm kind of in the middle in terms of how this car handles. And I've driven some pretty harsh cars. This definitely isn't like a Lotus Elise or like some sort of like very, very hard suspension sports car. It's definitely got the blend of both worlds because you do have the ability to change how the suspension acts on the fly by changing it into sport mode. So I don't know, it's just interesting. So speaking of weight, it's a heavy car. It's a very heavy car, that's for sure. It kind of drives like a boat, like literally, like it drives like a boat. But I don't know, it kind of gives you like the illusion of being like a lighter car with the adjustable steering weight. So it has that going for it, and it definitely does like help, but you still feel it. Like I mean, I'm not sure if you would like equate it to body roll or maybe just like the sheer weight of the car, maybe the batteries. But you definitely feel it like when you're like doing like very long turns or like you're going around the corner. It's like almost like a barrel roll. Like it feels like the sheer mass of the car is just like being moved. But I don't know, that's like the best way I can really describe it. But it's a heavy car. So yeah. The other thing is around just the cabin noise in general. So the inside, the interior noise is definitely really, really low. And I found this out like during my first week or even like my first test drive of the long range model. Very, very quiet. And I've said this before, I'll say it again in this video, it's akin to a 7 Series. I know some people have comments to say around that statement, and I know it's a very bold statement, but trust me, the inside of a 7 Series, it's very quiet and it's very similar to this car. And also the 7 Series is super heavy as well, and it feels heavy because the wheelbase is like much longer. So you get like very, very, like you get into scenarios where you have to make a turn and the turn is much wider than what you would think in just like a traditional car, which is another thing with this car. But yeah, the inside's very quiet. I love it. In some cases, I feel like it's almost too quiet, especially like when I'm playing music and the bass is like very intense. So what I like to do is I just like to roll down the windows so that way I could have like a little like extra noise dampening, if that makes sense, to just sort of dampen like the volume of the music, the bass and stuff like that. Maybe it's also just me because I just want to like be able to feel something. Like if the weather is very good outside, for example, there's a nice breeze, I like to have the windows down. So in terms of materials and quality, definitely not the best I've seen. I'd say it's adequate for what it is. I want to say maybe like in my review, I probably said like the leather is like very good, or maybe like another video I talked about the leather. That's sort of my main points when I say like it's just kind of adequate. I owned a Lexus UX200 that also had leatherette, and the leatherette to that one felt more real or more closer to actual leather. Whereas with this one, it's like, yes, it's like super solid, and it has like a little, I don't know how you would describe it. Maybe it's just like so new that it still needs to be broken in some areas. Maybe that's it. But it has like a very soft, crispy sort of feel. I don't know how to quite describe it, but it's like very, it's just like very tight, like very fresh. And I feel like it's more prone to like friction and scratches and stuff like that, because that is one thing that I did point out in one of my videos. I talked about that a little bit. And the other thing that I was thinking about that I didn't really mention too much on this channel is the fact that this car is very like the leather is very prone to like skin oils and stuff like that. That's another thing I found, because usually when I have like my stepmom or my sister, they have like lotion on and stuff like that, or they might have like something in their hair. The seats will catch that, and I'll see that like after they leave, and I have to like quickly wipe it down with like a microfiber cloth. And I had no problem doing that, but it's just kind of interesting because I've never seen that in any other leatherette material sort of car. So I'm not sure if it's just the finish of the leather or the fact that it has maybe no finish on it, but I don't know, it's weird. It's one of the weird quirks with this car, which I also talked about in a video, and you can view that in a card somewhere above here. Next is driving it in the wild. I feel that a lot of people have something to prove when they see this car, and I'm not sure if it's the license plate, because I mean, it is a pretty bold license plate. It literally says EV FBI. So I feel like when people see that, they're like, oh, he's an FBI, I have to go up there and see what he's got in the hood or something like that. So I don't know. But I have other Tesla people that tried to race me on the freeway. I have Genesis Coupes. I have the usual like Chargers, Challengers. Pretty much anyone who has like something to prove, they will like actively pass you. They'll pass you at 100 miles an hour. They'll overtake you. They'll get in front of you. I've had that before. I've even had people like throw stuff at my car. And I'm not sure if that's just like a Texas thing, but I've had cigarette butts thrown at it. I've had people just throw unknown substances outside the car. Like what they'd do is they'd actually cut in front of me and just like, you know, have their window open, and then they'll have their arm out and they'll like toss something out, and it's just like very weird. It's very weird. I've never had that happen before, and maybe I'm just now noticing it with this car, just being like a new car that I genuinely want to take care of. But it sucks that people are like that. But in terms of just like driving it like in the wild, that's sort of the thing you're gonna get with this car, at least in my state. Maybe in like California, maybe it might be a little bit different just because they're more EV friendly there. Here, there's just like trucks for days. There's like a lot of beater cars, like especially in my area. So I feel like some people might be jealous. Whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure you'll come across some of the same things that I encounter on a day-to-day basis when I'm driving this car. So in conclusion, I think this car is cool. I think it generally is cool. I think Tesla has come a long way up to this point, because I know with their earlier cars, they've had like a lot of quality issues with them. But with this car, at least with my specific car, because I mean, let's just be honest, their quality is all over the place. But with my specific car, I haven't had any like significant issues with it. And I mean, it's reliable, it's an EV. Their service center is pretty helpful as well, just having them like on call basically. Like you just making a mobile appointment, they'll just come to you. I feel like more manufacturers should definitely consider doing something like that, because it's just convenient, especially like if you're, you know, like you have a job, you have like a meeting you got to go to, whatever. Having them meet you where you are is like super cool to me. And like I said, it's very convenient. In terms of the performance, yes, it's fast. And I know what I'm about to say is probably going to rattle up some feathers in the comment section, but it's a fast car. However, I don't think it's the best performance car, at least that I've driven before, just because of the pure fact that it's an EV and it's a very electronically assisted driving experience. Now, I'll say that Hyundai, they're doing something interesting with their new Ioniq 5N, which I definitely want to drive. They have like the sounds, they've got like the actuated controls, they got paddle shifters now in their car. And then they also have like simulated gear changes, which is interesting to me. But I definitely think that's a step in the right direction, just having that control back to the driver. There's another company out there that restores and I guess retro mods old Porsches, and they make them into EVs. And I saw a video on Marcus Brownlee's channel. I think it was on either Autofocus or his like main channel, but that was super cool to me how they like retro modded it and they made it into an EV. I'll say like, you know, the EV part of it, like the conversions and stuff, it's like it looks a little bit too rough around the edges for my taste, but I will say they're going, like, it's a step in the right direction because it still gives you that retro feel. It still gives you that analog feel that you know and love from a classic sports car from the 70s or 60s, however long ago that car was made. I feel like bringing that experience back to the driver actually does make an impact when you're marketing and selling a performance car. So those are just my thoughts. You may not agree with them, and by all means, I think everyone should be entitled to their own opinion when it comes to EVs in general, performance EVs. Some people like the speed, some people like, you know, the practicality, some people like the range. It just all depends on what your experience is when it comes to driving performance cars. And I'm thankful to say that my experience ranges across a lot of different cars. Not just cars either. I've driven I've owned 2 bikes as well, 2 motorcycles. So I've had like, you know, a lot of different experiences, and this isn't my first EV either. To me, like in my humble opinion, the car is just a very, very fast EV at the end of the day. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. We can agree to disagree. So that is the video. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I know I yap quite a lot, and I am very passionate about cars, which is kind of what fuels that yapping. So thank you so much if you stuck around this long into the video. If you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like and also consider subscribing. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I make 1 review per month, at least for now. And then I also make videos like these every week. So if you found this content informative, insightful, or if you just like my yapping, definitely feel free to subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. This has been John with Blackbird Productions, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.